name of this segment is called The Rise of Adderallology. Last year, 21 million prescriptions were written for ADHD medications. Excuse me, 21 million. And it's been on the incline ever since its advent or induction in 1994. This is the beginnings of Adderall. A lot of people don't know is that Adderall is an old drug that's been around since the 1950s. As a matter of fact, it was Johnny Cash's favorite, and Elvis's too. What people don't know is that the sudden death occurrences that have occurred with Adderall occurred with OBERTROL too. Basically, OBERTROL is a brand of amphetamine salts indicated for the treatment of obesity. It was manufactured by an American pharmaceutical corporation called OBERTROL Pharmaceuticals. Its isomers were actually, back then, it was an amphetamine and methamphetamine compound. In 1972, it was acquired by Rexall Pharmaceuticals. In 1993, Rexall was acquired by Ridgewood Pharmaceuticals in 1993, Pharmaceuticals Group out of Kentucky. It's Ridgewood Pharmaceuticals out of Kentucky acquired Rexall, the makers of OBERTROL, which a formula then contained two different salts of methamphetamine and two different salts of amphetamine in 1993. Okay, in 1995, Ridgewood Pharmaceuticals merged with Shire Pharmaceuticals. Okay, OBERTROL is available in 10 and 20 milligram tablets and which contain twice the quantity of its ingredients in the same proportions. In the 1980s, the use of methamphetamine was greatly frowned upon for weight loss, and after decades and decades of declines in sales, OBERTROL is no longer a profiteering brand name drug for them. So the rights to OBERTROL were open just to Ridgewood Pharmaceuticals. Now I'm going to read this directly to you. When Ridgewood acquired Rexall, the drug's name was changed from OBERTROL to Adderall, and the drug was marketed for the use of the treatment of adult attention deficit disorder in both children and adults. The old Rexall factory underwent extensive renovations and improvements and continued to manufacture the drug for several years. So, there you go. Not only did Ridgewood Pharmaceuticals copy an existing drug that has been around for years and known to be highly addictive and deadly, they also used the same company that manufactured the former drug to manufacture their new Adderall. Alright? Okay. During these years, the drug Adderall was indicated was identical to the most recent formula of OBERTROL. Of course, there are chains of preparations to dextroamphetamine sulfate, dextroamphetamine saccharin, amphetamine sulfate, and amphetamine aspartate. Sometime after the year 2000, Shire closed the Rexall manufacturing facility and outsourced the manufacturing of the brand name Adderall to a vendor in North Carolina. In fact, no Shire manufacturing facility other than Rexall facility it acquired produced immediate release Adderall at any time. Interesting. They didn't make their own drug. Let's also look at the aggressive advertising of Shire. This is one of the advertisements. Shire Pharmaceuticals Group is a specialty pharmaceutical group that makes drugs for people with rare diseases. Very clever group. It's the advertisement here. Oh boy, did it make a change in Johnny's grades? Of course it did. It increases the blood flow and the electrical activity and the glucose metabolism within the prefrontal cortex. Thus, if you increase the capacity or the activity of the prefrontal cortex, you can increase cognitive function. So what you get is you get an ice cutter effect, a cognitive steroid. What they don't tell you is that ADHD drugs are no longer effective after a year in some cases because, well, basically because of the heightened bioavailability of dopamine, your brain's response is to counteract the over-dopagenic activity by reducing the amount of receptor sites, the receiving end, or the dendrites of your neurons, which receive the electrical impulses. In other words, the longer you take Adderall, the less active neurons you have. Your brain activity gets lower and lower and lower and lower. Basically, you become burnout. So they don't tell you that. Here you can see. It's too low. It's pretty clear. As you can see, this is a SPECT imaging, functional magnetic resonance imaging of the brain. You can see the heightened activity in the ADHD subjects placed on methylphenidate preparation originally. Basically,